Hey there, this is Seth Schaefer from Team Just Cause Robotics, and today we're finally going to cover how my bots did at Sword back in mid-November 2021. Today's focus will be Shrapnel Mine, a brand new and extremely experimental Beetleweight design that's unlike anything I've seen attempted before. I have a whole playlist of videos called The Process, where I went over the entire design and thought process for this bot, but if you want to skip ahead, I'll rehash the important bits here. Shrapnel Mine started as an idea in my head and on paper all the way back in April. My goal was to find a counter to the Fingertech beater bar clones and other beater designs that pop up constantly at US competitions. The avenue for doing this was to try and attack what is the weakest, least armored, and hardest to hit part of the opponent, the underside. Many beater bar robots are invertible, so this accomplishes the same goal as attacking through the top of a bot like Sawblaze, but often, all the important bits are secured to the bottom, making it even easier to get a kill shot. But there's no way to fit a spinning vertical weapon underneath the enemy. Simply mounting a vertical saw to a wedge would be easy, but I would just be hitting edges and corners and not actually the middle of the bottom of a robot. Instead, I thought the best solution is to bring the robot to a wall and lift and pin them to the side of the arena, just like P1 is designed to do with its front hinged flipper. Then, with the saw on an articulated arm, I could bring the saw into play. The hard part was how to combine these things together with a powerful drivetrain and still make weight, and have enough armor to withstand the opponents. So the name Shrapnel Mine is simply a reference to a German weapon used in World War I, which was a form of landmine that would pop up out of the ground and then explode, shooting shrapnel everywhere around it. The idea with this robot is that it attacks from the ground and pushes robots up against a wall to be able to attack their undersides. After countless iterations, hundreds of Fusion 360 versions, what I arrived at is this. Weighing in at a measly 2 pounds and 4 ounces, a full 10 ounces underneath the 3-pound weight limit. Oopsie. Construction breakdown. Shrapnel Mine boasts 3/8 inch thick AR500 steel forks, a 0.1 inch thick 6-tooth custom saw blade, 6061 aluminum arm lengths. The base plate is 1/16 inch thick titanium, which I bent by hand, and the servo that provides motion to the linkage and saw arm is mounted to a laser cut and bent 4130 steel bracket. Every part I just mentioned was designed by me and then cut by Send Cut Send, a metal laser cutting and bending service which I use for all of my bots. But the real stars of the show are these servo brackets. These were machined from a single block of aerospace grade 7075 aluminum by PCBWay with a 5-axis CNC machine and then flawlessly anodized a beautiful matte black. Full disclosure, these parts were paid for by me out of pocket, but PCBWay gave me a $150 discount off of the $340 total with all shipping and fees, and they're paying me for making this video. I got 6 pivot mounts and 2 servo brackets for that price. If you need some parts CNC machined, or of course PCBs fabricated, definitely check out PCBWay. They've got a promotion going on right now, so you can find details at the link below. I now know of several bot builders who have been using PCBWay's CNC machining service since I've been advertising it to everybody, and I know most of them have been really happy with the results. I will say though that myself and one other person that I talked to received our parts a week later than we were told that we would when we ordered. So definitely make sure that you order well ahead of time. These parts are being made in China, and shipping things from China to the US during pandemic supply chain issues is never going to be a good time. If you're looking for some help wiring up your first robot, or you would just need to compact all of your electronics into the tightest possible space like I had to with this build, I custom designed a power distribution board and a special Just Cause PCB switch, which I battle tested inside of Shrapnel Mine, and they didn't fail throughout this entire competition, as you'll soon see. Check out my website for details, linked in the description below. Alright, with the sales pitch out of the way, it's time to get to the actual competition. Let me first tell you a little bit about Sword. Sword is the name of a club that is run by the Penn College of Technology down in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, where this competition was hosted. The competition takes place inside of a gymnasium which has horrible Wi-Fi access, which is why there was no live stream. However, if you're subscribed to my channel, you just got bombarded with 26 videos. The Sword team were happy to share with me the footage that they got from a smartphone, and I labeled and individually uploaded every single one of the videos of the fights that didn't include my robots, so everyone can watch them, despite there having not been a live stream at the time. This competition was held on November 6th, 2021, amid a pandemic, and everyone was required to wear masks, and everything was kept as safe as possible. I did meet a few wonderful fans and gave out a bunch of stickers to all of them that I could find. I came to Sword to compete with Shrapnel Mine in the 3-pound weight class alongside Division, and I also brought Mini Mulcher, my 1-pound ant weight robot. The format of the competition was a little weird in the Beetleweight class. In the Antweight class, it was pretty much a typical double elimination tournament as most competitions go, except instead of a usual 3-minute time limit, there was only a 2-minute time limit. For the 3-pound class, however, things got kind of weird. If you've watched my past Norwalk Havoc videos, you know that the typical way a competition is run is with a 3-minute match between 2 robots. First robot to be knocked out loses. If the competition continues for the full 3 minutes and neither robot is immobilized, then the fight is judged based on a judge's decision, typically based on control, aggression, and damage. Now, there were no judges that appear live on screen to deliberate during the sword competition. There was just some quiet talk amongst themselves to determine winners of any judge's decision fights. But that's not the weird part. The weird part is that the 3-pound weight class did not run as a double elimination tournament at all. The way that they run the competition at Sword is every single robot participates in 3 three-way rumbles. Then, based on your performance in those rumbles, the top 12 robots are seeded into a final single elimination tournament to determine the winner, with the fights all being a 2-way fight between 2 robots, except the very last fight, which again is a 3-way rumble to determine first, second, and third place. The first robot to be knocked out or disabled in a fight gets 3rd place and is given 1 point. The second robot to be knocked out or to be declared based on the judges is given 2 points, and the robot that is the last robot standing or is determined the winner via judge's decision in each of these 3-way rumbles is given 3 points. In addition to these points, a robot is given an extra point every time it knocks out an opponent. So for instance, if Division cleaves its opponent in 2, or pushes its opponent into the pit, which by the way, there is a push-out pit in this arena, then Division would get an extra single point. If a robot drives itself into the pit or seems to just die of its own accord, the extra point is not awarded to anyone. You have to knock out a robot or disable it in some way, be responsible for it being unable to move in order to get that extra point. Okay, now that we have the super long intro out of the way, I am off script for the rest of this. Let's get to the actual fights that Shrapnel Mine had. My first fight was up against Mondo Bizarro, a returning competitor from Norwalk Havoc, as well as a D2 kit called Purple Nation Army. This would be only my second time ever fighting a D2 kit with any of my bots.
In the red square, we have Mondo Bizarro. Are you ready? This match will begin in 3, 2, 1. Fight, robots, fight! Mondo, can you move? Uh-oh. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mondo is out. It is now down to Purple Nation Army and Shrapnel Mine. Thanks for the hit. Look at that self-riding.
Can't drive with the force down.
1 minute remaining. Has Shrapnel Mine lost its weapon? Oh, you're good.
I don't have that much battery, right? Jeez.
Good push. 10. 30 seconds remaining. Shrapnel Mine, can you move? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Match over. Your winner, Purple Nation Army.
Given this was Shrapnel Mine's first ever fight, I was actually extremely pleased with its performance. Honestly, the battery dying was probably the best way I could have lost if I was going to lose, but I think I possibly could have pulled out the win against that D2 if I had actually lasted the full 3 minutes. Either way, though, that was just a poor oversight on my part, not having a big enough battery, and everything else in the robot seemed to work pretty well. The main problem that I had was just driving around. Because the steel forks are so sharp, and that floor seam especially, I would really be digging into it like every time I wanted to cross the box. I was afraid of getting torn apart by Mondo Bizarro, but that turned out to be a complete non-concern because Mondo decided to just not work. I would love to say that the devastating power of my saw lightly touching it absolutely destroyed the internals of that bot, but clearly that's not the case. I think Mondo just, like, randomly died. So that sucks for him. But that left me to deal in a control battle with one of the most control-y bots that you'll ever meet in an arena. These D2 kits can be purchased for some ridiculous amount of money. I think it's like $600 or more for a ready-to-run version. And Purple Nation Army in particular has been competing at Sword for a number of years now, and I think I may have faced it with Division back in 2019 as well. At least I did face one called Envoy, which is basically the same robot. D2 kits tend to either have a wedge or these forks. They usually use the forks against like a beater bar and a wedge against a horizontal spinner. Since I was also fighting a beater bar, I obviously went with Shrapnel Mine's default setup, though I do have an alternate setup if I have to fight a horizontal spinner. All in all, pretty happy with the performance of Shrapnel Mine. The drive was a little hard to control. I was obviously learning how to drive this bot in an arena for the very first time when I got here. The bot was very fast and still pretty controllable to steer, except when I needed to turn in really tight corners. You can also see the saw making some pretty sparks here, which is pretty cool, although the entire body of a D2 kit is made out of aluminum, so I knew that I wasn't really going to be able to slice through it or do much to it. Maybe I could have gotten through like a top panel that was plastic, but yeah, it was really hard for me to really pin this kit to a wall because they had pretty good grip with their four-wheel drive system. All in all, definitely not too disappointed with how this fight went, and I thought it was a fantastic first shakedown for Shrapnel Mine. I just had to fight Shrapnel Mine and Division back-to-back. Shrapnel Mine came in second place in its fight because it ran out of battery power, but it was actually working very well up until that point. I think just running the saw the whole time was a mistake, but I fought Mondo Bizarro and a D2 kit and took no damage because Mondo died in the corner in the first like 30 seconds. And it was doing really well against the D2 kit, except then I ran out of power because I was leaving the saw on for too long. So you can get a sense of how crazy this event was for me. It turns out that trying to run 3 robots in a tournament that only has like less than 60 robots total means you're involved in like a third of the total fights. So I had to unload Division and immediately load Shrapnel Mine in, and this happened 3 or 4 times throughout the event. Thankfully for me, Shrapnel Mine took 0 damage in the previous fight, other than draining its battery completely, which of course I forgot to address in my stress of then fighting Mini Mulcher and Division right afterwards, so I put Shrapnel Mine in the arena with its dead battery from the previous fight. Thankfully I had charged the spare battery I have, and I actually had 3 other different batteries that were all fully charged as well, that I could swap in at a moment's notice, so it wasn't a huge deal. I just pulled out the dead battery and swapped in the fresh one, and was good to go for this fight. Now I had to fight yet another beater bar bot in Nebuchadnezzar, and whatever Mike bot is.
Alright, box is locked, bots are loaded. In the blue square we have... This robot's name is really hard to say. Are you ready? In the yellow square we have Shrapnel Mine. Shrapnel Mine, are you ready? And then around the red square we have... Are you ready? This match will begin in 3, 2, 1. Fight robots, fight. Nice dance. Keep going. Oh, keep going. Keep going. Self-hit it. We are down to Shrapnel Mine and like a move.
Down.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Match over. Your winner, Battlebot, and this robot's name is hard to say. Alright, 1 hour break. Be back here for 2:25.
Hi, I have to fix all the things now. So, on Shrapnel Mine, these hex is what drives the wheel. There's like a hex imprint in the wheel, and a hex imprint on the, oh my god, I can't see, it's upside down. There's a hex imprint on the wheel. There's supposed to be a hex attached to the gear, and it sheared off on both wheels because I printed these in nylon at lower temperature than usual due to the fact that I wanted the teeth to resolve better and they weren't resolving very well when it was at high temp. You can also see it, like when it got stuck, it just like melted. So I'm going to PETG, which melts at an even lower temperature, unfortunately, but like I don't think I can torque this off, so hopefully that'll survive better. The drive system is one of the few quickly repairable parts of Shrapnel Mine, thankfully. I can't believe I put a dead battery in it. How did I do that?
Honestly, what
I think I might have just, it might have just left it. Like it might have just been in there.
I might have. I don't. Yeah.
That's okay. It's your first time.
Yeah.
I forget crap like that all the time, and it wasn't a big deal because I had the fresh one. It just wasn't.
Honestly, what may be a good idea, and I think I didn't take it out. I was thinking about that, and I was like, I'm a little nervous about pulling the batteries out because I don't know what it's gonna do.
Unplugging things is generally very safe compared to plugging them in.
Well, true, but yeah, I don't know where all the interlocks are, so I was just a little reluctant to do it. But
all right, that is wheels. I'm gonna put the weapon lock back in, and then do a quick wheels up test of this guy, which is easy to do with such a long robot. Oh, I don't have a battery. It's sort of half dead ball. That seems to hold. It's definitely lower than full charge, so you can like hear it.
yeah. Honestly, what you may want to think about doing, and this is something I do at work, which is why I think that they have these little tiny post-it notes.
Oh yeah, this is Nathan, guys. Say
Hi.
Nathan.
that you can like stick on there so you know which ones are dead. And
Yeah,
you pull
so
them off
you
when-
can buy these things that are like a little plastic slidey thing that's like green and red. But the
Yeah.
problem is if you don't remember to do that, which I wouldn't, and it's like it doesn't even help.
That's fair.
I'd rather just like be like charged battery go in here, dead battery go there to next to charger.
That's fair.
That's like a little bit cleaner. This guy has a fresh battery in it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Next up, Shrapnel Mine had to fight yet another jokey kind of bot in Chef Mike, which has 2 inactive, not spinning egg beaters stuck onto the front of it and a chef's hat, and then an actually threatening bot, Materbot. Materbot has a really tanky steel wedge, and it has a brushless drive system that is quite robust, that allows it to push around other bots and move very fast across the box at about the same speed as Shrapnel Mine. This was definitely going to be a very interesting driving battle, and I was worried that I might get tangled up in the beaters on Chef Mike as well. Let's see what happened.
Alright, boxes locked, bots are loaded. In the blue square, we have Materbot. Materbot, are you ready? In the yellow square, we have Shrapnel Mine. Are you ready? That sounds like it's ready. In the red square, we have Chef Mike. Mike, are you ready? You look
Mike,
excited.
are you ready?
I'm ready.
This match will begin in 3, 2, 1, Firebots fight. And it's gone. I see sort of ganging up on you now. Two minutes remaining. Good push by Beetleweight. Chef Mike is just risking the competition away. One minute remaining. You want to be separated? Yes? All right, pause the match. With 36 seconds remaining. Good job, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. All right, this match will resume in 3, 2, 1, Firebots fight. 30 seconds remaining. Good pin by Materbot there. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Uh-oh. Shrapnel Mine, can you move? 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Match over. Shrapnel Mine did not lose the drive until 9 seconds before the match was over. Your winner, Materbot, followed by Shrapnel Mine and Chef Mike.
So yeah, this fight didn't go as well as I was hoping. The drive was a lot more reliable now that I was using PETG drive gears instead of the nylon ones. However, I kept having traction issues simply because all of the weight of my bot is in the front, and my sharp steel forks kept digging into the floor. You can also see that my bot really likes to turn to the right and not to the left sometimes because it's the fork on the right side that is digging into the floor a lot more than the one on the left. So it can be a little inconsistent turning, which makes it a little harder to drive, and it's just kind of generally a very fast, squirrely bot. I also just constantly got hung up on that damn floor seam in the middle, which made it a lot harder to try and, like, really show like I was able to push the other bots, since I'd push them, you know, just to the center line and then get stuck again. I was having a lot of problems with the stupid beaters on the chef bot as well. You can see my arm is at, like, just the worst height to interface with them. Still though, overall the bot did pretty well. I mean, I got a couple good shoves in. The weapon wasn't useless. I was able to put on a nice show with the sparks and didn't get flipped over and die in a corner or anything like that, so I can't be too upset with the results.
Push by Beetleweight. Chef Mike is just whisking the competition away. One minute remaining.
Oh god, I want the whisk!
You want to be separated? Yes? Alright, pause the match. Alright, robots, fight.
You can really hear it after this match resumes that my saw is so much slower and the battery is pretty tired at this point. I found that I couldn't really do anything except move the servo once the battery voltage went below like 6.6 volts, which is understandable since the servo could operate on 5 volts.
3, 2, 1, release. Uh-oh. Shrapnel Mine, can you move? 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Match over. Shrapnel Mine did not lose drive until 90 seconds before the match was over.
Now that the 3 introductory rumbles were over, all of the bots were seeded into the tournament if they had enough points. Fortunately, both Shrapnel Mine and Division qualified for the single elimination tournament. So that put Shrapnel Mine into what it was essentially a quarterfinal fight against Bob. Bob is a pretty interesting little robot. It is armored with bathroom tiles as a super hard ceramic armor, except for the parts of it that are, you know, duct tape and prayers. Unfortunately, Bob was not quite fully functional going into this match. As you will see, it basically came in with only one drive side working. So this was going to be a real opportunity for me to show what Shrapnel Mine could truly do when it's able to control its opponent. Let's see how it went.
Here in the yellow square is Bob. Bob, are you ready? This match will begin in 3, 2, 1. Fireballs, fight. Shrapnel Mine showing much more control than Bob. It looks like Bob only has one drive wheel left. Music to my ears. One minute 30 remaining. Bob is definitely driving better now with half the wheels going. One minute remaining. Can you move? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Match over. Your winner, Shrapnel Mine.
My battery literally died right there. So I guess the 450 isn't better. Alright, sadly I didn't have time for a full post-fight interview because I had to load Division into the box immediately after this fight, but look at that gourmet damage. Whenever I was testing Shrapnel Mine in my apartment with the steel forks on, it was constantly digging into all of the little slits between my vinyl floor panels and tearing up the floor, and that was no different on the plywood floor seam in the arena either. So for this fight, I decided to actually put the 3D printed PETG sliders that I had been using on my vinyl floor onto the bot to run on the wooden floor, because Bob obviously has no sort of wedge anywhere close to the floor that I would need to avoid being gotten under, and it would give me so much better drive control. So I decided to take that little trade-off, and I think that it worked brilliantly for this fight, so I decided to also keep it for the following fight. This was an amazing example of what Shrapnel Mine was really built to be able to do. It is a bit of a shame that it was against an opponent that wasn't fully working, but this fight was still a ton of fun, and I was really happy to have an opportunity to really show in a proper 1v1 where I'm not getting tangled up in a cooking implement that Shrapnel Mine can in fact work. Also, check out this wheel-ectomy. Half of that tire just instantly gone. Though, for some reason, Bob was able to drive better after that. That was the one wheel that hadn't been spinning the entire time, thankfully for Bob. One thing I was very surprised by was that after I managed to turn Bob over towards the end of this fight, the saw was not getting enough reach to really do anything. I was kind of hoping that I'd be able to cut some wires or something, but, well, I mean, if I did, you certainly couldn't tell because Bob couldn't drive anyway. But I'm pretty sure I didn't really hit anything important here. And you can see the saw just goes straight through the bottom of the spot. Like, it's basically just duct tape. So, yeah. Surprisingly, didn't hit anything important, but in the end, didn't really matter. Shrapnel Mine was able to get the win after dying from low battery 2 seconds later.
3, 2, 1. Match over. Your winner, Shrapnel Mine.
Now it's time to play with the big boys, specifically Thunderchild. Thunderchild is definitely one of the competitors to beat at a lot of these East Coast events, and he has won this competition countless times, both in the Antweight class with Slim Pickens and in the Beetleweight class with his bot Thunderchild. Thunderchild is well known all across the country and in the UK as being one of the best driven and most durable wedge bots around, so this was definitely not going to be an easy fight.
In the blue square, we have Shrapnel Mine, are you ready? And in the red square, we got Thunderchild, are you ready? This match will begin in 3, 2, 1, Firebot, fight! Good fight. Your winner, Thunderchild, he is in the finals.
That was unfortunately a rather short fight, but it was a good fight nonetheless. I mean, Nate clearly outdrove me, and my downfall was simply that I didn't get very much practice self-righting, especially not from that side position, which takes a little bit to get right. You need to get a good combination of good traction and have some space and wiggling in just the right way to kind of get up from that position, and there was no way that I had time to do that with Nate working me towards the pit almost immediately, so definitely deserved the win there, and the win straight goes to him. If I hadn't turned the saw on there, maybe my bot wouldn't have flipped because of a little bit of gyro that adds, but I really wanted to have some chance of doing some damage because I didn't think I was going to win the control fight, and clearly I was right about that. The sword competition was definitely the most fun that I've had in a very, very long time, even though it was incredibly stressful trying to run all of my bots through 16 fights in one day and somehow trying to get them all fixed and repaired. I'm happy to say I did not miss a single fight due to having to forfeit from not having a bot ready in time, though it was near constant maintenance in the pits and charging and swapping batteries to get to that point, and a good healthy mix of having properly designed mini mulcher for super quick serviceability as well. I would like to give another thanks to my friend Nate for helping me out at the event and for doing some of the camera work, although the camera did miss one corner of the arena. Thankfully this phone footage I think covered most of the important action. So yeah, this was a ton of fun. Thanks so much to all the people who organized the sword event. I hope in the coming next month or so to have out my division recap and my mini mulcher recap as well. And if you want to see those, make sure that you're subscribed and hit the bell icon to get notified when they come out. Also, make sure to check out my website if you're interested in getting the PCB or switch that I used in Shrapnel Mine. That's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching.